words, looking at the times in the scripture where Messiah actually spoke. If you have a red letter Bible, we're looking at all the places where the letters are written. We're dealing with the words that he said and the situations and circumstances that caused him to speak, and kind of dealing with those things. So this week, we will be looking at actually John, the entire chapter 5. John chapter 5. It's a singular incident. It's interesting that when we look at the gospel, times there are kind of the exact situation that happens between Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They're always kind of grouped together, but there's many things that we find that will only be found in the book. Who, by the way, was the self-proclaimed favorite of Messiah. So it's interesting for us to kind of look at the things that he has to say. But this situation will deal with time that Yeshua heals a man on the Sabbath. John, we're going to go ahead and read through John chapter 5. John chapter 5. Let's just read through it. We'll read through it, chapter 5, and we'll go back and deal with things.
5, verse 1. Then there was a festival of the Judeans, and Yeshua went up to Jerusalem. He ate food, which was called in Hebrew Bethzatha, having 5 portions. And these were lying a great number of those who were sick, blind, crippled, paralyzed, waiting for the stirring of the water. For a messenger was going down at a certain time into the pool and was stirring the water. Whoever stepped in first, then, after the stirring of the water, became well of whatever disease he had. A certain man was there who had a sickness 38 years. And Yeshua saw him lying there, and knowing that he already had been a long time, he said to him, "If you want to become well," the sick man answered him, "Master, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred. But while I am coming, another steps down before me." Yeshua said to him, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And immediately the man became well, took up his bed and was walking. Now it was Sabbath on that day. The Judean therefore said to him, "You have been healed. It is the Sabbath. It is not right for you to take the bed." He answered them, He who made me well said to me, "Take up your bed and walk." Asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" The one who was healed did not know who it was. But Yeshua had moved away, the crowd being in that place. And after Yeshua found him in the set apart place, and said to him, "See, you have been made well. No more, so that no worse matter befalls you." The man went away and told the Judean that it was Yeshua who made him well. Because of this, the Judeans persecuted Yeshua and were seeking to kill him because he was doing these healings on the Sabbath. But Yeshua answered them, "My Father works until now." because of this, then you seek all the more to kill him. Because not only breaking Sabbath, also called Elohim his own father, making himself equal with Elohim. Therefore, she responded and said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, the Son is able to do none at all by himself, but only that which he sees the Father doing, because whatever he does, the Son also likewise does. The Father loves the Son and shows him all that he himself does, and greater works than these he is going to show him, in order that he marvel. As the Father raises the dead and makes alive, even so the Son makes alive whom he wishes. The Father judges no one, but has given all the judgment to the Son, that all should value the Son, even as they value the Father. He who does not value the Son does not value the Father who sent him. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him, who sent me, possesses everlasting life, and does not come into judgment, but has passed from death into life. Truly, truly, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and those having heard shall live. Father possesses life in himself, so he gave also to the Son to possess life in himself. And he has given him authority also to judge you. He is the son of Adam. Not marvel at this, because the hour is coming in which all those in the tombs shall hear his voice and shall come forth. Those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have practiced evil matters to the resurrection of judgment. Of myself, I am unable to do any matter. I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own desire, but the desire of the Father who sent me. If I bear witness to myself, my witness is not true. There is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. You have sent two Yohanan and bore witnesses to the truth, but I do not receive witnesses from men. But I say in this order that you may be saved. He was the burning and the shining lamp, and for a while he wished to rejoice in his life. But I have greater witness that your the works that the Father gave me to accomplish the works that I do. Bear witness of me that the Father has sent me. And the Father who has sent me bore witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor have seen his form. And you do not have his word staying in you, because you do not believe him who sent me. Search the scripture, because you think you possess everlasting life in them, and these are the ones that bear witness of me. But you do not desire to come to me in order to possess life. I do not receive esteem from men, but I know you that you do not have the love of me in you. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, him you receive. How are you able to believe when you are receiving esteem from one another, and the esteem that is from him do not see? Do not think that I can accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, both there, in whom you have set your expectation. patient. You believe Moshe, you would have believed me, since he wrote about it.
Hmm.
But you do not believe his writings, believe my word.
Okay, very good. So it seems that Messiah had a lot to say, all based on the things that these people, these accusations, that were kind of brought on him by these nations. And so when we look at all of these things that it is that he has to say, it is a direct response to the charge, right? He's not just speaking randomly, saying all of these random things, but all these things are connected to the reason why it is that he is not only able to do what it is that he has done, but also it kind of proves who or what he is. So let's go back to the top over here. I've got a few things. Go back to verse 1. There are some interesting things I want to look at. Verse 1, where it talks about this festival of the Jews, the festival of the Yehudim. It's interesting when we think about this word here in the New Testament, first century time of Yeshua time. This word here, Jews, Yehudim. Because at one time you could look at this and it talks, and for it to say the festival of the Yehudim, you might think that it's talking about the festival that the southern kingdom observes. Only, like specifically, right? A certain section of Israel as a whole. Perhaps this is speaking about those people. But at this time, if you were to say Yehudim, it's not necessarily talking about people from the tribe of Judah or city or the southern kingdom in general. At this time, this is something that's done with the whole people. When it says the festival of the Jews, in the scripture version it says Yehudim. Well, what festival is it? What festival would it be? We know that it says that Yeshua went up to Jerusalem for the festival. So it could be Passover, could be the Feast of Weeks, could be Tabernacle. It could be any one of those three times when the people were literally commanded to go to Jerusalem. A lot of the commentators that speak about this say that it is in fact Passover. However, the people that disagree with those people that say that it's Passover, the reason why is because when you look at Yeshua and his time in ministry, it's really commonly believed that Yeshua's ministry lasted 3 years. That it began at the time that he was 30, and in the actual ministry time was a 3-year long period. One reason that they're able to come to that conclusion is because in the Gospels, there's 3 mentions of Passover.
Hmm.
As to say that he went through 3 cycles. Passover. As to say that he went through 3 years and he actually dies on the third. Right? And so the people that disagree with this festival of the Jews being Passover is the fact that now you've added a fourth one. Was his ministry 4 years? Right? This is one of the things that they, the objections that they have. Another thing that you could look at is the fact that when the scriptures actually are referring to the Feast of Passover, it literally says the Feast of Passover. But this time it didn't say it. It said the Feast of Jews. In fact, when you look at other places, it says that it was the festival of dedication. A lot of times when you look at the scripture, it's giving you this time that it is. It's not necessarily giving you this generic kind of feast thing. And so, therefore, and another thing is the fact that Yeshua was in fact there at that time, but you don't necessarily know if he's there because he's commanded to be there, or he just decided to be there, just so happens to be there. Because, there were you could go there at other times. It just so happened that he was there, and it was this festival of the Jews, this unknown festival that was happening, that he was in fact participating in. It really could have been dedication. It really could have been Hanukkah. It really could have been Purim. Right? But another thing that causes you to think that it may have been actually kind of this feast day that was kind of this commanded feast was actually what it is that they were doing over here in verse 2. Because they were in Jerusalem at the sheep gate. And so at this sheep gate, it was called the sheep gate because it was a place where they kind of watched the sacrifice. It was a place where they took the sacrifices that were going to be made, and that place was a washing place for the sheep. So take note of the fact that, first of all, this is a gate. It's an entryway to Jerusalem. Take notes. We want to take notes. This is what we want to take notes. The fact that this is an entryway to Jerusalem. This particular entryway is directly connected to sacrifices that are made unto the Most High. So you have these sacrifices that are associated with this gate. You have washing that's associated with this gate. Well, you had your hand up.
I was just gonna say that, I know that I'm guilty of referring to Sukkot as the feast.
Yes, totally generic. So many feasts. Which one do you mean?
I know, and then everyone says that to me the first couple of times I say it, and then they realize after the third time that every time I say the feast, I'm referring to Sukkot.
It's kind of our tradition to refer to Sukkot as the feast.
Even the New Testament.
Where are you keeping the feast at this year? We're probably talking about Sukkot. Because there's many feasts. There's a time that we will be keeping the feast of unleavened bread. But I guess it's kind of for us anyway. We're doing
In
that.
2023.
Doing that we go place for. What,
Well, I mean, even in the New Testament where it says, in the last day, the great day of the feast, she stood
Yeah.
and cried, saying,
yeah. And so you have to investigate to know what feast he's talking about. And so when you investigate, you're able to make a connection, but that's another time. Same writer, by the way, doesn't say what the word, what feast he's talking about. I think really for our purposes here, it doesn't matter. It's just something something to think about. But what does matter, I think, is the situation that we have here. The fact that they're at this gate. They're at this gate, and the gate is the place that the sacrifice is washed, the entryway to the city is there, and there at this sheep gate, there were washings involved. This sheep gate was the northeastern corner of Jerusalem's city wall. Go back to Nehemiah, which is, talks about the rebuilding of this particular entrance way. The word there, name of the pool that's at the gate, Bethesda, actually is the house of kindness. Right? It's the house of kindness. Dates, cassette, right? Put together. And so it's interesting that we have this place. If you look at the Thayer's Greek dictionary, it says that Bethesda is the house of mercy or flowing water. Flowing water. It's interesting that Yeshua, well, when we think about flowing water, you're talking about living water. Right? It's living, it's flowing, and you're saying that it's alive because it's not stagnant. It's moving. Right? It's living, it's alive. And so again, talking about this pool, this living water, this house of mercy, when you think about the tabernacle, the box, the Ark of the Covenant, the lid for the box is the mercy seat. And so when you think about the innermost place of the Holy of Holies, the very thing at the very center of that is mercy.
oh yeah.
And so it's interesting that this situation happens where we have this place, this place that is this pool in Jerusalem, this pool of Bethesda at the sheep gate, at this entryway into the city. It's interesting that all of these things are happening here. And so when we look at when you go down to verse 3, it talks about what usually happens or what is said to usually happen at this place. Because, by the way, the historians don't really know if anyone has ever been healed by dipping into this water. There's no real documentation of any of that happening. Even though the people went there, kind of folklore almost, for this to happen. Because they talk about an angel coming and stirring up the water, right? And people will come to be healed by this event that happened at this. By the way, if this was a thing that was actually happening, we'd be better able to find out what feast this was to know which feast they would come together and this actually happened. So what we know is that they believed that this would happen, but we also know from a historical standpoint that there's no kind of record of people being healed at that time. Although there is a record of people going there to be healed at that time. And so we see that this man is here waiting, like as was the custom. It's kind of like, how these people around here think that on December 24th at night, there's going to be a fat Nordic man going to fly on a sleigh and give presents to kids. Like, people really wait for the presents, but it don't mean that there's a guy in a sleigh with reindeer
In the sky.
that flies, that's all knowing, goes around and drops off gifts through people's chimney. But it don't mean that people not waiting for that to happen. And so the man really is waiting to happen, and it's kind of messed up that it's like he's there, and even part of his story, it's like, I come here every time, but it's like, try to get in the water, but I can't even be in the water because I can't really move fast enough. People get in front of me. Because and so when Yeshua comes and witnesses this, right? He does this thing, which we see him doing. Brought this up another time when we see that Messiah is healing these people. He's not necessarily putting kind of a moral demand on people. The first thing he says to the guys is like, well, what you doing out here in this world? What's your life? You out here running around in sin. He's not dealing with them like that. He say, you want to be healed? Come on, get up, walk, be healed. Receive this gift of mercy that I had for you. That, by the way, the house. And so it's interesting that all of this is happening. I'm saying that it's interesting that these things Yeshua picks this time. And that the reason why he is in Jerusalem is not necessarily because he's dealing with this commanded feast necessarily, but he's up there at this time when people are coming to this sheep gate, the place where sacrifices are made and washed at this place, which is the house of kindness. And he's exhibiting disdain to this man who's there waiting. And so for me, I feel like Yeshua here is taking the opportunity to allow for this thing that these people were actually doing to be like this teachable moment and show that he really is kind of in all things. And these things are pointing to him. They're waiting at this pool by this living water to experience this living water that's moved by the Spirit. The angel comes and stirs the living water and to receive healing from this living water. When Yeshua just got finished telling this lady down by this well that if you take a drink from me, you'll be filled up with this water, this living water, and you'll never have to thirst again. And so the same kind of message kind of is being uh, delivered here by Yeshua uh, at this house of mercy. And so then here comes these naysayers. Who was these people? It says Yeshua first man sick immediately. Oh, just the Yahudim there. Just the religious people. And religious quote unquote. Just the righteous quote unquote people was there. Who saw all of this and say, read verse 10.
The Yehudim therefore said to him who had been healed, it is a Sabbath. It is not right for you to take up.
What kind of person wants to sit up here and talk to this person? They knew him. He wasn't getting far. He couldn't move. Somebody probably took him there and set him down there. He couldn't have been far from him. He didn't have no friends that was like them other friends that lowered they friend down to the roof. He didn't have many friends, this guy. We can look at all these things that we're able to find. He didn't have many friends. The guy who had friends that was in the bed that couldn't move, his friends got him exactly to where he needed to be at. They took him there, they lowered him down. This guy, he probably got the equivalent to an Uber to the place. Just some random people helped him get to the place he didn't really know. Here, just get me over to this place. I'll pay you some money. Just get me to the place. And then they left him there, obviously.
But he said nobody was there to help him get to
Nobody was there to help him. Somebody got him there, but that's as far as it went. And so I'm saying, who is these people that they know this guy? They got to know him. They see him. They've been seeing him for 38 years. Their whole life, they know about this guy who can't walk.
Can't get down the water.
Why are they talking about?
It's on the side.
It's the Sabbath. You can't carry your bed out of here. Meanwhile, they're not in awe of the fact that he's able to carry anything. These people are crazy. You know some people like that? Where there's something real and substantial that you could be focusing on, but you want to take this other thing that's kind of not really that serious, that somebody wants to sit there and focus on that. Meanwhile, you a walking miracle. And so it's interesting when you look at these things because, first of all, when they talk about the fact that this thing that he's doing is not legal to do on the Shabbat, they're basically saying that she would have sinned. Right? So if these people are right, then they're making Yeshua be a sinner. Because he's the one that instigated this whole thing. He's leading. When we look in Deuteronomy, if the prophet teaches you to do something that's against the law, then you must have killed the prophet. That's what they were ready to do. But what law was he breaking? The scriptures tell us not to work on Shabbat. They tell us not to work. But how do you define work?
Serve our word.
Well, even at that, we could say, what does that mean? Does it mean like going to a job? Does it mean like digging a hole? Like what is that? these people have done is said what that is. They come up with these things that that classify as work. And so I'll look at a couple of these things. But the main thing is, that him taking that bed and carrying it somewhere, the thing that is dealing with is this idea that there's private domains that do, and this is all with things that they kind of made up with the fences that they use to keep you from breaking the law. So there's private domains that just deal with you and your situation, which would basically be your house, would be your private domain. And then public domains would be like the street, thing at the corner, right? The neighbor's house, right? To you, that's a public area. It's their private area, somebody else's house, but it's a public situation. And so you wasn't able to take a thing from one domain to the other. And if you did that, you was in violation. And so,
Or,
yeah,
I would say they still do that now. Because in the Jewish neighborhood, they have a line between the houses to connect the houses to the synagogue, and that's how you're able to carry your.
they make a border.
They make a border around it, and then that's how you're able to carry your Torah or your scriptures or whatever.
Right,
To the
because
synagogue on Sabbath.
technically you can't take your scriptures out of your house to the synagogue
Or anything else.
or any other place, because you're moving it from one domain to the other.
Mhm.
And so if you attach the borders, you make the public domain be a private domain.
I mean,
And
but-
so he who takes a loaf of bread into the public domain is liable. If two people take it out, he's exempt. But I guess if you're taking a thing by yourself, it's kind of laborious. But if somebody else is helping you take a thing that's really only meant for one person, and two people are doing a thing that's really meant for one person, it eases the laboriousness of it, where it makes that be something that's permissible. If you come to my place with something that's in your possession, and you stick your hand over to my threshold, put it in my hand, that's good. But if I take it from your hand, that's bad. Like, these are all these fences that they create in order to keep these people from working. Now, this guy's in a bed. He can't walk, right? That bed is basically a piece of furniture, but he can't move it. So it's legal for him to be put there by people taking him there. Because again, moved by himself, he can't get anywhere. So it's legal for them to have put him there. But for him to get up now and carry that thing away, that's a violation. He's working. And so this is what they look at. These things that they come up with to prevent you from breaking the commandments. And so they look at these things which they're not what the Most High didn't say it is, but the teachers of the time, in order to try to create a holy nation, which Israel was a holy nation, I have to be able to spell out all these things so everybody knows what it is that we can and cannot do out here. And then with the parameters, the people was able to live within their parameters. I know that I'm able to do this, and I can't do that. But what the issue is now is that they're looking at those things that they came up with that's not Torah law. The Most High didn't say it, and then so they see Messiah doing this thing where he healed this person. Yeah, that's great and all. But after you did that thing, you told him to carry that thing, which is forbidden. And they out here like, who is this? Who is this man that told you to do that thing? Like, how can he be right? They like diminishing Messiah. How can he be somebody that's right when he sat there and told you to do sin, essentially? And so Yeshua's to all of this tells the people who he is. So let's go down to verse 17, which is a pretty interesting verse. What Yeshua has to say about these people and these accusations. Read verse 17.
And Yeshua answered them, my Father works until now, and I work.
He said, my Father works until now, and I work. First of all, they talking about him working on Shabbat. He said, my Father works, and I work. Let's think about Bereshit. Go to Bereshit 2 and 2. Genesis, the first book. Good. Verse 2.
And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work which he had done. He rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
Okay, very good. The Shabbat. The Shabbat is created because the Most High worked to create it for 6 days, and he rested on the seventh. He didn't rest because he was tired. Maybe the Most High did. The Almighty didn't rest because he was tired. In fact, the argument can in fact be made that he didn't completely rest. He rests from the creating that he was doing in terms of creating things, everything. But did he stop everything though? The Shabbat is something that's made for us, for man. The Most High don't need. He don't get tired.
Nope.
So what does he need to rest for? He stopped creating all the things that he was creating as a sign that we would have a day of rest, where we do all of our creating 6 days and we rest. But go over to Isaiah chapter 40. Isaiah chapter 40, read verses 28 through 31.
Isaiah 40:28. Do you not know? Have you not heard the everlasting Elohim, Yahweh the Creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary?
He don't get tired and he don't get sleepy. Good.
His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases strength.
You get tired, but when you're tired and you go up to the Most High, he strengthens you. Except on the Shabbat, he don't strengthen you.
Yeah. Day off. You gotta wait till the next day.
You gotta wait till sunset.
You
He
gotta,
don't strengthen you.
you gotta put your order in.
That's it. And it'll get to you and your name will be in the queue. first.
Mhm.
Come on.
Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall stumble and fall. But those who wait on Yahweh renew their strength. They raise up like wings like eagles. Eagles, they run and they not weary. They walk and they do not faint.
When you're resting, when you're in need of renewal, he works for you.
Yeah.
Yeshua's teaching these people and they don't even know. They don't even know. He said, my Father works until now, been working. They never stop. That's what he said. Look at Matthew 5:40.
Matthew 5:45. So that you can become the sons of your Father in the heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous.
That right there says that the Most High is going to rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. The world goes on. If his wrath got to be poured out on the Shabbat, he's going to pour it out. His wrath don't stop on the Shabbat. If his blessings need to be manifest in your situation, he's going to pour out his blessings on you on the Shabbat. He made these situations for us, not himself. What is he resting for? He don't get sleepy. What's Isaiah 41:10?
Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not look around, for I am your Elohim. I shall fortify you. I shall also help you. I shall also uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness.
We need to understand that the Most High is always going to be with us, doing his sustaining work all the time. We got to recharge. He don't got to recharge. I'm so thankful that he doesn't. What if he had to like recharge? He had to re-up himself. We had to sit up there and wait.
With the order.
Look how backed up he would be like if he really had an office. Come back and check his emails. Catch up. But he don't stop. Look at Colossians 1:15 through 17.
1:15-17.
Colossians chapter 1:15-17.
Who is the likeness of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of all creation? Because in him were created all that are in the heavens and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or rulerships or principalities or authorities. All have been created through him and for him. And he is before all, and in him all hold together.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, say that again. That's 17.
And he is before all, and in him all hold together.
He holds everything together all the time. He don't never let go. And so if you think that we sitting up here spinning around in a circle, around this big old ball of fire, he the one that's holding us here, spinning and rotating and evolving all at once. If you think that we just like a one of them glass balls with the sun and the moon inside the ball spinning around in circles with a bubble on top, He keeping that thing together too. Whichever way you want to look at it, he's sustaining the situation always.
Right.
His work don't stop. He said, my father been out and working. Been working. And I'm working too. When we look at the high priest, he's a picture of the Most High. The priest is. The priest job don't stop. He got to keep on going. Every day he got to get up in the morning. He got to take the morning sacrifice. He got to burn it up. Every night he got to take the evening sacrifice. Burn it up. He got to go look at them wicks. Make sure the wicks ain't down too low. He got to look at the oil. Make sure the oil is still in there. If it ain't, he got to take the priest clothes get dirty. So they rip the clothes up and they make more wicks. They got to keep on going every day. They never stop. Their work don't stop. He got to keep on working so that we can rest. And so the answer to these people when they sit up here and try to tell him, you sitting up here, he told them he was divine just right there. He gonna tell them again in another way, but he started off in 17, said, my father works until now, and I will. Yeah, he'll do it. Because he needed healing. Was I supposed to not heal him because it was the Shabbat? Was I supposed to not heal him because he had a bed underneath him? And if I heal him, what's he going to do with the bed? Am I supposed to think about that or am I supposed to think about his well-being? And so Yeshua begins to tell these people that he's, and they know he's doing it, that's why they try to kill him. Because the things that he's saying is just too much for them to gather, even though it makes sense. When Nicodemus comes to him, his main thing to Yeshua is, I know that you're from Elohim because I see the work that you do. And so this is what Yeshua is saying over here. You should be able to look at the things that I'm doing and know that I'm just not just some regular guy out here just whatever. But I'm from me. Drop down to verse 19. Back to John chapter.
5:19. Therefore, Yeshua responded and said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, the Son is able to do none at all by himself, but only that which he sees the Father doing, because whatever he does, the Son also likewise does.
Okay, very good. So he's making a connection between the things that he's doing and the Most High. He's causing them to understand that I'm not sitting up here raising my own self up. The Most High rose me up, and I'm doing His work. Look at Exodus chapter 7, Shemot chapter 7, verse 1.
Exodus 7, verse 1. Okay, to Moshe, see, I have made you Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, is your prophet.
Hold on, say that again.
And so Yahweh said to Moshe, see, I have made you Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, is your prophet.
Okay, so the rabbis talk about the fact that Elohim, in his divine power, can make you, can give you a position of godliness. But whoever makes himself God, bring shame on himself in the end. The Most High said to these people, speaking of Moses, you're Elohim, and your brother is your prophet. Look at Ezekiel 29, read verse 6. Ezekiel 29, 3, verse 6.
Through 6. 3 through 6?
Yes.
Okay. Speak, and you shall say, thus said the Master Yahweh. See, I am against you, O Pharaoh, sovereign of Israel, O great monster, lies in the midst of his rivers. He has said, my river is my own, and I have made it for myself. And I shall put hooks in your jaw, and shall make the fish of your rivers cling to your scales, and I shall bring you up out of the midst of your rivers, and all the fish in your rivers, and I shall leave you in the wilderness, you and all the fish of your rivers, on the face of the field, you shall fall. You shall not be picked up or gathered. Give you as food to the beasts of the field and to the birds of the heavens. And all the inhabitants of Mitzrayim know that I am Yahweh, because they have been a staff of grief to the house of Israel.
Pharaoh made himself be a god. And then the Most High had to bring him down back to where he was supposed to be. He had to bring shame upon him because he tried to put himself in a place where he didn't belong there. And he used Moses to do it. So on the authority of the Most High, Moses was operating as Elohim. But on the authority of the Most High. And then but the one that was on his own authority, he got brought to shame. Look at Ezekiel 28, verse 2, and then also read verse 17. Ezekiel 28, verse 2, and also verse 17.
Son of man, say to the prince of Sur, thus said the Master Yahweh, because your heart is lifted up, and you say, I am El. I sit in the seat of Elohim, in the heart of the seas, whereas you are a man, and not God. Though you set your heart as the heart of Elohim. Verse 17. Your heart was lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I threw you to the earth, made you before sovereign.
Okay, very good. So we look at Yeshua, what he is doing. He's letting these people know that the Father is the one who put him in the position that he's in. Not his own self. If he was putting his own self in that place, then they would be right. But he's not self-exalted. He was exalted by the Most High. And so this is the way that he's dealing with these people. This is why he's talking like this. I'm not out here just working on my own, according to my own self. I'm working according to what the Most High has said. Read verse 20 and go back to John. Read 20 and 21.
Chapter 5, verse 20. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all that he himself does, and greater works than these he is going to show him, in order that you marvel.
Okay, come on. So when we look at Yeshua and the things that he's doing, his works the works that he's doing is showing people who he is. And so if these people would take an honest look at Yeshua and the things that he was doing, they would understand who he is and the things that he's saying. People who are able to honestly look at him and the followers. And then these other people who ain't doing nothing but eating, they're not able to see what's actually happening. Okay, 21.
For as the Father raises the dead and makes alive, even so the Son makes alive when he wishes.
They should be able to understand that the giver of life is the one who's able to bring life to someone that's dead. They should be able to understand. And if somebody's out here raising people from the dead, they probably not operating on their own strength.
Probably. I would
They
say.
should be able to give them the benefit of the doubt. They should at least. Yeshua warns us about later. But these people over here, they didn't get the warning. They should be able to look at, see that this guy sitting up here causing this person to be able to walk who ain't been able to walk for 38 years. And along come Yeshua, he didn't even do nothing. He didn't even touch him. He just said, get up, man. Get up. Get that thing out of here. Go ahead. You all right.
Boy, you said that yesterday. You saw the guy in a wheelchair. You said I should just go over and be like, get up and walk at the store. He's like, I should just be able to go over there and be like, get up and walk. Get up.
That's what Yeshua was doing though. He seen the people in need and just said, man, get up. Walk. Don't even just walk. Carry that thing out of here.
Yeah. He said, he was like, stop playing. You playing right now. Get up. Like, people joking.
That's it. But Yeshua now is expecting these people who want to come around with their, you know so much about things, you should be able to figure out what's going on over here. That he's not just working on his own strength, on his own power, but by the power of the Most High. Drop down to verse 24.
For truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me possesses everlasting life. It does not come into judgment, but has passed from death to life, into life.
Okay, so it's interesting when we look at, Messiah and the way that he's working. Here again, I said that when we talked briefly about the Torah portion, when we see that Most High came and manifested himself to Abraham in physical form. This thing that Yeshua is doing here is totally unorthodox. It's totally unorthodox for him to come and for him just to say that, to have a situation where he refers to the Most High as, when you see Father in the scriptures, capitalized in the Bible, there's not many places in the Old Testament where the Most High refers to as Father. You might find where Israel's referred to as his son or children. But I don't know if there's places where you find the Most High being referred to as Father. And certainly not by an individual. And so, just without kind of thinking about it, without looking at the obvious, Yeshua is never doing these miraculous things. But without taking those things into consideration, it's odd for someone to speak about the Most High as Father and Him being Son.
Yeah.
It's not totally off the wall, their reaction, if these things is kind of in a bubble, in a vacuum, without all of the things that He's doing. Yeah, if He didn't have all these miracles for Him, for Yeshua to say, my Father, I am the Son. Their response to all of that is somewhat merited. But when we look at their response and think about the fact that He has been doing all of these miraculous things, when you think about the work of Messiah, this is all orchestrated. He's doing these things to show who He is and giving you a reason to be able to believe in the things that He's doing, so that we're able to be joined back to the Father. He's doing these things on purpose. Like this is it's a process. There's a system to the thing. As to where he's doing again. When you look at what He's done with this man, He didn't go up to the man telling him that he need to get his life right. You need to leave out of that woman's house that you at. You need to quit doing all this sinning and stuff. I don't know. Just saying, He didn't put all of these things on him. He said, get up and walk. And then after the fact,
You don't want worse stuff to happen.
yeah, but He didn't lead with that though.
Yeah.
He came with the blessing that he gave to the man. And so the second part, the next part is about bringing him in close. But the first part is to kind of just give him a reason to come in the first place. And so when you think about it like that and understanding that these people are not taking into consideration the things that Messiah is doing in order to prove who He is in the first place. You're not looking at the big picture thing. And therefore, they're missing out on. And so when we look at Yeshua again, at His response, He's proving Himself to be, in fact, the Father. To these people who are, of course, doubting the fact. All right, let's drop down. Let's look at, he brings it up. He brings it up further and talks about verse 328 and 29.
So do not marvel at it, coming in which all those in the tomb shall hear His voice and shall come forth. Those who have done good to the life, those who have practiced evil matters, to a resurrection of judgments.
Okay, very good. So it's interesting also when we think about Yeshua and kind of these things, he's slowly introducing these various doctrines, I guess. He's letting us and them know that there is, in fact, a resurrection for everyone. Some people are going to be resurrected unto life, and some people are going to be resurrected unto judgment. But lastly, I wanted to just drop down. We think about the way that he ends this whole situation, dealing with these people that got so much to say about Yeshua and the things that he's doing. When he says to them down in verse 39 that you search the scriptures because you think you possess everlasting life. And these are the ones that bear witness of me. The scriptures bear witness of Yeshua. He's talking to them the same way he talked to Nicodemus. You're supposed to be someone who's out here teaching these scriptures, but you don't really understand the scriptures, because if you did understand, you would know who I am, she would say. Read the last two verses, 46 and 47.
It says, for if you believed Moshe, you would have believed me, since he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how shall you believe my words?
Okay, very good. So he kind of ends this whole situation, bringing the thing back to him. They try to sit up here and talk about Yeshua and what he did and make him look like he was some type of hypocrite or something, because he was doing this good thing and then cancels it out with a so-called bad thing or whatever. But challenging these people who are coming against him, as he does in other places, if you truly understand what it is that the scriptures is actually teaching, you're able to understand that the scriptures is actually talking about Yeshua. If we really look at the Torah, if we really look at the things that are inside the 5 books of Moses, the things that Moses has written, if we really deal with those things in the way that they were actually intended for us to look at them, we would be able to understand that these things are all pointing us towards Messiah. All of these things are helping us to be able to understand who Messiah is. So it's so interesting that when we go back and where it all started from, it all started at an entry to Jerusalem. It all started with the entry point to the place where the Most High dwells. It all started with the way that you get into the place where the Most High is, the gate. You wanted to tell these people that I am the door. I'm the gate. He's going to tell them later, then tell them yet. But he's doing it at the gate and letting them know that I'm the way in. Using up and looking for these other things that happen. Meanwhile, I'm the way in. And I'm proving that I'm the way in because of all of these things. So I want to just, as we just begin to be done talking here, just think about the fact that, this Yeshua, when we look at kind of what we're doing in terms of looking at, his words, things that he has to say, he's showing us little by little, he's showing himself to us through these things and these actions that he's doing. And the real message is for us to be able to understand who the Most High is, understanding what his character is, understanding that without the Spirit living and dwelling, leading us and guiding us, we're not able to walk in this world without his. We need Messiah in our lives, because in our own mind, we can look at these things that he's given to us and still come up with the wrong thing. Because these people are looking at the Bible and they're coming up with the wrong thing because they're absent of the Ruach. And so Yeshua has made a way for us to be able to receive his Spirit, for it to dwell inside of us, bring us into all truth if we believe. So with that being said, anybody have any questions, comments?
I just want to say, people, you could see how many people is coming to that door. expecting mercy. And
It was a real thing.
it was a real thing, and I just feel like, this thing that we have in the Messiah should be equally when people come into that door.
Yeah. These people sit up here coming and waiting for this thing that never happened. Meanwhile, they got Messiah, who really is that pool.
Oh, yeah.
He really is that house of mercy, and they saw it in action.
Mhm.
And for the real ones, they seen it and they became his followers.
Mhm.
But the people that wasn't really operating according to the Spirit, all they see is this legalism that's based off of man-made tradition.
That's good. I want to end it with John 4:24. Classic scripture here, but Elohim is spirit,
Oh, yeah.
and those who worship him need to worship in spirit and truth.
Oh, yeah.
So what he was doing in front of them, you can't deny what happened in front of you. That's the thing. Like that, people be like, prove it.
Yeah.
There's no more proof than what happens in front of you. That's what everybody's looking for. That's the only contention with everything that people have a debate about. Prove it. So he was right in front of them, and they still didn't believe. So because they didn't have the spirit. Kill a man for 38 years.
Must be the death.
They didn't perceive that. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay, that being said, so we'll go ahead and be done for week. That one will be back on next Shabbat to continue with look at the scriptures. And now we'll say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.